You might see problems regarding volume and surface area where they give you the volume or the surface area of a shape and then they ask you to find some other part like the radius or the height. And so let's look at a few examples here. The first one is a sphere has a volume of 1372 pi over 3, find the radius. So whenever you're given a problem like this, step one, write down the formula. Write down the formula, always. And plug in what you know. So I know that the volume of a sphere equals 4/3 pi r cubed. What I know is the volume. So that's going to get plugged in right there. So I write down 1372 pi over 3, and I set it equal, and I bring down everything else. 4/3 pi r cubed. And so now, step 2, you are going to use algebra to solve for the unknown. In this case, they're asking us to solve for r. So I have to get r by himself. Well, now I need to use my algebra skills. The first thing I see is that if I were to multiply both sides by 3, these 3's would cancel out here and here. And if I were to divide both sides by pi, let's write it this way. If I were to divide both sides by pi, so if I went like this, like that, the pi's would cancel out. And now that's going to make my life easier. So I'm going to write my work out again. I have 1372 on one side, and on the other side I have 4r cubed. And I'm just going to copy and paste this over here so I have a little more space. We're going over there. And now I want to follow order of operations. My r is stuck inside the cube, but I can't get rid of this exponent until I get rid of the 4 times the r cubed. So the first thing I do is divide both sides by 4. That will cancel. And then I use the calculator to divide 1372 by 4, and I get 343 equals r cubed. To get rid of the cube, I need to take the cube root on both sides. So cube root on this side and cube root on that side will cancel that out. And now the cube root of 43 is my radius. Well, cube root of 43, we need a calculator to find that. I'm going to go to Functions, Miscellaneous, and I have this button right here. So notice that I went Functions, Miscellaneous, and then I want this button here that has the n above the square root, n above the root. So I tap that guy, and now I can tap in a 3 for cube root. I use the arrow button, type in 343, and the answer is 7. So the dimensions, the radius of this sphere is 7 inches or miles or whatever. A pyramid has a volume of 637 with a square base with these sides. Okay, so if I were to just draw out this little shape, I have a square base, 7 by 7, and the volume equals this. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is write out what is the volume of a pyramid. It's 1/3 the base area times the height. Now the height is what we're looking for. And the height would be right down the middle from the apex to the middle of your base. That's your height. Okay, so we don't know what the height is, but let's plug in what we do know. We know the volume is 637. We know that the area of the base is going to be 7 times 7. That's length times width. So that's 7 squared. And we don't know what the height is. Okay, so now it's algebra. Solve for the unknown. I'm going to start by multiplying both sides by 3 to cancel out that 3 right there. And then I'm going to write out my work. So let's see, what is 3 times 637? And I get 1,911 is equal to 7 squared times h. Well, 7 squared is 49. And if I divide both sides by 49, 1,911 divided by 49, and we get a height of 39. The height equals 39. So even if you're not working with cones or circular things, it's the same rules apply. Start by writing down the formula for either volume or surface area. Draw a picture if it helps. Plug in what you know. Usually one of them is going to be the volume and surface area, and we know the sides, and then you have to solve for the unknown.